The fall of the regime is inevitable. Those are the words of an officer inside the Iranian military. He believes the Islamic Republic is finished. And when you look at what's actually happening inside this regime right now, it's hard to argue with him. Factions and splits inside the leadership. The Navy has been sent to the bottom of the sea. And the man who's supposed to be holding all of this together, their new supreme leader, may not even be alive. Make sure to stick them to the very end of this video because we're about to see a regime that isn't just losing a war, it's literally tearing itself apart from inside. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you make sense of the madness with breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. So make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. All right, we've got some major updates here. Breaking news, the Iranian Navy is being absolutely obliterated. The U.S. and Israel have destroyed more than 30 Iranian naval vessels, including Iran's crown jewel carrier, the Shahid Bagheri. CENTCOM has confirmed that no Iranian ships remain operational in the Arabian Sea, the Strait of Hormuz, or the Gulf of Oman, effectively eliminating Iran's ability to threaten global shipping. Here's Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
I see from some of the cities and capitals nearby, but I want everyone to know your military is getting the job done. And every single day, this regime in Iran has less missiles, has less launchers, their factories work less, and their navy is being eviscerated. And the world is going to be a safer and a better place.
Now, of course, without that navy, Iran's ability to permanently close Hormuz is gone. Their navy is destroyed, their launchers are being hunted, and their missile stocks are rapidly depleting. Now, keep in mind, that does not mean that their ability to disrupt Hormuz traffic has been neutralized. They can still make the passage too dangerous, too uninsurable for commercial traffic through mines or fast boats or just the sheer psychological deterrent of a few successful drone strikes. But U.S. and Israeli forces are systematically degrading even these residual capabilities. Also, big announcement from the nation of Turkey. They have summoned Iran's ambassador. That's never good, by the way. This is in response to yet another Iranian missile. Yes, another Iranian missile that was shot down by NATO defenses in Turkish airspace. Now, this is enormously significant because Turkey is a NATO member, meaning an Iranian attack on Turkey could theoretically trigger Article 5 collective defense. And in many respects, geopolitical analysts have noted that Turkey's president, Erdogan, he's been waiting for exactly this moment. Iran's destruction removes the single biggest check on Turkish regional ambitions in the Middle East, from the Levant to Iraq to the Turkic world in Africa. Every Iranian provocation against Turkey only accelerates Ankara's justification to fill that vacuum. Erdogan doesn't need to fight Iran. He just needs Iran to keep giving him reasons to inherit everything Tehran is losing. The missile incident hands him both a grievance and a permission structure to expand Turkish influence across every theater Iran is collapsing in. And Washington needs Erdogan to do exactly that. Again, fundamentally, this war is ultimately about U.S. troops handing over Middle East security to the Abraham Accords, the Abraham Accord nations, and at the very same time, decimating China's major proxy in the Middle East region. So we talked about this extensively on our live stream Friday. That was a 2.5-hour live stream. So you definitely want to check that out if you want to deep dive into Trump's grand strategy here that's playing out in this war. But ironically, this war is happening precisely so that we don't have to police the Middle East anymore, either in terms of Iran's destabilizing presence and its proxies, or as Iran carries out the regional wishes of its chief financier, which of course is China. Now, this second missile attack on Turkey further underscores the very real divide, the factional division that's happening right now inside the Iranian regime as we speak. You'll remember last Thursday, Iran's president Masoud Pezeshkian went on camera and did something frankly, no Iranian leader could have ever imagined doing in the history of the Islamic Republic. He apologized. He apologized to the Gulf states for Iranian attacks on their territory. Remember, Gulf Arab states have suffered infinitely more attacks than Israel has. It's astonishing. And Iran's president said that the Interim Leadership Council had ordered the armed forces to stop attacking neighboring countries unless those countries attacked Iran first. He was essentially waving a white flag to the region and trying to find an off-ramp before the entire Middle East turned against Tehran. Too late, by the way. And this is key. The IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, they ignored him. Within hours of Pezeshkian's apology, literally hours, Dubai International Airport was hit by a drone. Explosions were reported in Abu Dhabi. Missile strikes continued across the Gulf. This is after the president of the Islamic Republic more or less ordered a ceasefire and apologized and said we won't be shooting anything else. And so he's got his own military firing while he's offering these apologies. The IRGC answers solely to the supreme leader, not the elected president. And so clearly there is a rift here between the presidential faction and the supreme leader faction. And the strategy of trying to destabilize the region by hitting all of its Arab neighbors is clearly backfiring. The UAE is retaliated. Saudi Arabia is preparing to retaliate. Qatar has expelled Hamas's senior leadership from their country. Azerbaijan, which is a very close ally with Turkey, closed its southern airspace and shut down border crossings after Iranian drones struck their international airport at the Nakhchivan area. The entire region is turning on Tehran. And the IRGC's response? Keep shooting at everyone, including countries that were trying to stay neutral. Why would they do that? We're about to find out. But first, let me ask you a question. Are you working incredibly hard, maybe even successful by most standards, but you feel like you're spread too thin, right? Not enough butter over too much bread, you might say. So you're working your life away and you're wondering, when do I actually get to enjoy my life? Here's the problem. The elites have their system. They've rigged the game so that if you want more money, you've got to give them more time. And if you want more time, well, you're going to have to sacrifice money. It's a trap that keeps you dependent, exhausted, and anxious about the future. But what if you could have your own system? What if there's a way to build financial security for your family that doesn't require employees or customers or inventory or any of the headaches that come with traditional businesses? What if you could do it in just minutes a day or even minutes per week from anywhere you choose? Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Steve, that sounds a little too good to be true. And I get it. But here's what I've learned. Trading is actually the best business in the world when you do it the right way. And before you think trading, that's too complicated. That's too risky. Isn't that like gambling or so on? Let me tell you about my good friend Troy Noonan, the backpack trader. He's spent 30 years perfecting a step-by-step approach that makes this accessible to everybody. I'm talking ordinary people like you and me. And I know it works because I'm actually a member of his program. I've tried it out. And here's what makes Troy's approach different. He'll show you how to prove the system works for you before you risk a single penny of your hard-earned money. It's like it's learning to fly on a simulator. You don't actually fly first. You got to make sure you do it perfect on a simulator. Then you can fly. It's the same thing he does with trading. You could see the results first, then decide if it's for you. If you're ready to see how this could play a massive role in improving your life situation and giving you your time back, go to backpacktrader.com/TurleyFreedom right now. You can just click on the link below. Troy is hosting a special free live training called Backpack Trader Live exclusively for our community. And when you register, he'll instantly send you his 12 Powers to Successful Trading ebook, packed with concepts no one else teaches, the ingredients that lead to successful trading and the like. I know, I read it. It's brilliant. And when you show up to the training, you'll get an exclusive invitation to a private roundtable with me and other folks from our community who are now living this dream lifestyle. This is your chance to stop being trapped in their system and start building your own. Go to backpacktrader.com/TurleyFreedom right now and reserve your spot. Your bright, beautiful future is waiting. Let's go get it. The Media Line just published a bombshell piece by the Iranian journalist Omid Habibinia, who appears to have pre-existing contacts inside Iran's security apparatus. He spoke with an officer in one of Iran's military forces, so that could be their civilian force, not necessarily IRGC, didn't indicate it. It could be their regular army. And he also spoke with a Tehran-based expert familiar with the operations of the IRGC. So this was reportedly from a conversation from Saturday, just this past Saturday. The active duty Iranian military officer said, and I'm going to quote him here directly from the article, quote, "The tactic of wearing down and rendering the Islamic Republic's military and security apparatus effectively homeless in the cities has begun to work within a matter of days, and it's unlikely that they'll be able to sustain this condition for the coming weeks. They may collapse even sooner." Talking again about the IRGC. Homeless. That's the word he used for them. Homeless. U.S. and Israeli forces are not just hitting military bases. They're hitting every location the IRGC relocates to. A command post gets destroyed, so the IRGC picks up and sets up in a new building. Well, boom, then that building gets destroyed. They move to a sports stadium. Boom, that stadium gets hit. So the IRGC is doing what Hamas did in Gaza. They're hiding in hospitals. They're hiding in schools, mosques, residential neighborhoods. In fact, a Pentagon Iran specialist told the Media Line that this is a page right now straight out of the Hamas playbook. And the officer specifically mentioned the Kurdish Peshmerga. That's thousands of organized, battle-hardened fighters based in Iraqi Kurdistan as the one force the IRGC genuinely fears. And they could launch they can open up a front on Iran's western border at any moment. They don't need to actually do it. Just the mere possibility forces Tehran to divert forces it doesn't have in order to confront it, and could not even end up defending. But if this is accurate, and the Media Line is a top-notch, very reliable source, we have an active-duty Iranian military officer basically saying that the IRGC is approaching organizational collapse, and the fall of the regime is now inevitable. So put all the pieces together. The Iranian president is begging for peace. The IRGC won't listen, continues the desperate attacks. The Navy's at the bottom of the sea. The missiles are spent. The commanders are running. The proxies are shattered. The neighbors are threatening retaliation. And the new supreme leader, the man who's supposed to hold it all together, is a ghost who's never even shown his face since the first day of the attack. Like I said in my last video, in the end, he is a wounded man leading a wounded regime. And an officer inside that regime is saying in himself, the fall of the regime is inevitable. So, gang, we're watching. It does appear, again, the fog of war, right? You have to keep I'm just going with the information that I have and presenting it as I have it. Keep in mind, just the craziness of the fog of war. Things can move or shift back and forth. But if this pattern continues, it does appear we are watching 47 years of terroristic tyranny unravel in real time. And we're just 10 days in.